Hi, a few months ago I tried out the LG Swing, which was a decent touchscreen on wheels basically, not without needing some more work though. In this case I've taken a look at Samsung's latest go in this somewhat niche product category, introducing the bit weirdly named Samsung the Movingstyle. So how is this one to use? Well, firstly, I just need to mention that the bottom disc with all these wheels on it weighing over 20 kgs alone is actually one of the heaviest things I've ever unboxed in relation to its size. Regardless of that though, assembling the Samsung Movingstyle is actually very straightforward and basically only requires you to attach the big arm stand thing to the bottom with 4 screws. And then the screen just clips on to the arm like so. Done. In terms of movability, this one does basically what's expected and goes up and down and everywhere. It even rotates both ways as well for some reason. Tech-wise, looking at the screen specifically, this is basically the same as any Samsung TV. The screen is running Tizen OS and supports most normal streaming apps and whatnots, and you can of course also stream stuff from your phone to the screen. As for resolution, Samsung has chosen 1440p instead of 4K, a bit of an odd choice, but it does go perfectly decent with the 27-inch size. Colors are nice, viewing angles are really good, and the screen also has got a nice matte filter on top of it, sure reducing the contrast and level of darkness a bit, but also fairly effectively removing most direct glare, which actually makes complete sense in a screen like this. The refresh rate goes up to 120 Hz, and HDR support is also here in terms of HDR10+. So fairly decent. One thing I would have wanted here though is that the brightness could have gotten a little bit higher. It's not a huge problem, but in very light environments the screen leaves a little bit more to be desired here. On the back we get 2 USB-C ports, one for charging as well as an HDMI port. Included are also 2 5-watt speakers that actually sound decent and does provide a tiny little bit of bass, not that much though. However, in all the sound is actually fairly balanced and also gets relatively loud without distorting. The 2 coolest things regarding this specific piece of tech though is firstly the fact that you don't actually need this power cable down the bottom, but instead the screen has got a built-in battery that lasts for roughly about 3 hours of watching time. Second, and because of the first reason, you can also do this. And since there is a battery in the display, the screen works just as well as a standalone display on battery too. The rotatable handle on the back also doubles as a kickstand, making it both easy to place the monitor and to carry it around. Here though, I did not find it to be great for productive work, especially not with an Apple computer where the 1440p resolution never really felt right. I also experienced a lot of dips in contrast in this mode, making normal day-to-day work not super fun. Windows did a little bit better with its built-in scaling though, and for presentations etc. the screen works perfectly fine, but for detailed productivity work I would look elsewhere. As for controlling the Movingstyle, you can use either the included remote that also charges with solar power, nice, or the built-in touch capabilities that here, opposed to the mentioned LG Swing, actually are very responsive. The problem is here though mostly that Tizen is more made to be controlled with a, well, controller rather than your fingers, but it does absolutely works to control the screen using only touch as well. For gaming, if you want to do that, I'd say the screen works absolutely fine. The response time is perfectly okay for games like Minecraft or similar, however I wouldn't trust it with extremely fast-paced shooter games, etc. A little bit of an odd choice here, since there is no Ethernet port on the Movingstyle, is furthermore the use of Wi-Fi 5 instead of a later standard. Sure, this works fine for normal streaming, etc., but makes apps like GeForce Now a bit more unpredictable as to whether they will actually work or not. Lastly, and to sum this one up, the price tag here is also as heavy as the foot, coming in at about $1,200 or around £1,000. And looking at it as a 27-inch 1440p touchscreen with 2 5-watt speakers, that is undoubtedly a lot of money. However, the Movingstyle should of course be looked at together with both the battery and the stand. That all together, and to be honest, actually makes this one of the better rollable portable monitor solutions I've tested so far. Sure, it is a very niche product and it's not perfect, where for example a larger battery, perhaps in the foot, and a higher resolution would have been nice to have, but it is well built and overall quality is also perfectly decent. So for the right person or the right company, this could probably be both a nice and helpful addition to the everyday or every night if you prefer movie watching on it. Alright, those are my thoughts on the Samsung the Movingstyle. Please share any of your thoughts or questions in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you for watching. Bye.